I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don Le Batard.
You're just allowed to give me one word on what you think. I tell you, American flag, you give me one word on what you think. Go ahead, Chris. You're only allowed one word.
Freedom.
That's what I was going to go with.
Stugotz.
Guillermo.
Bald eagles.
What?
2 words.
Well,
I mean, God, $2.
That's a fine.
$2. I mean,
That's a fine.
Do you realize?
You
realize how hard it is to be that bad with 2 words, man?
apple pie.
I got 2 words for you.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
J.K. Simmons with us on ESPN Radio. His new series, Counterpart, premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. J.K. Simmons has become a friend of the show because every once in a while he comes through here and we remind him about his 2-2-gram past. 2-2-grams, is that what they were called?
Yes.
Do you think J.K. fancies himself as a friend of the show?
I don't know. It didn't sound like it there. Counterpart, J.K., tell us about it. You've been doing, man, I hope everybody gets to age as gracefully as you have.
Oh, gee, thanks. Yeah.
Weird.
Am I supposed to talk about how gracefully I'm aging now, or about?
Yeah, he did ask you 2 questions.
No,
there,
what
yes.
I'm saying is, like, you've had just this great career resurgence after 50, and it's just nice to see because you're really talented and you pick good projects.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and now that I have a bunch of trophies on the shelf, I have more to pick from, which is a great benefit from that.
It feels like, though, what he's doing there, J.K., tell me if I'm wrong, is he's criticizing everything you did before you were 50.
No, I'm saying...
Pretty much.
J.K., is your career not super unusual? I mean, it's not as unusual as Liam Neeson becoming an action star later in his acting career, but isn't your story unusual?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's unique, in fact. Unique to me. Yeah, I was schlepping around for a long time, making $112 a week doing theater in Buffalo or wherever, and loving life. You know, it's not like that was horrible either. But about the time I finally decided to grow up and settle down and get married and have some kids was about the time I started actually making a living. And one thing's led to another. I'm like a big snowball rolling downhill at this point.
And so Counterpart is part of the Avalanche. So you get a part of this, and what drew you to the project?
Just Justin Mark's script. I always tell my agent I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to know the synopsis, the back, anything. I just want to read the script. And so I didn't even know about the big sort of bombshell that happens on page 20-something. I was just reading along, and they said this character named Howard, and I fell in love with the way this guy writes and the world he creates and who this character is, and then yeah, like I said, I get to page 20-something, and they bring Howard into this room, and it's all hush hush and secret, and then the big bombshell gets dropped, which I know it was so cool to me when I was reading it. I thought I wish audiences could experience that same sort of moment, but I think everybody's going to know that there are 2 of me, so I get to work twice as much.
What is the most unusual? What would you say is the most unusual acting experience of your life in this regard? 2 of you is unusual, but it's been done before. Weird as it is, what would you say is the most unusual thing you've had to do in this regard?
Well, it's my first time for 2 of me, so certainly in a way this would be the most unusual for me, except, of course, for the 2-2-grams stage, which was unusual and remains unique in my personal experience. Yeah, I don't know, probably some stuff in the theater days, I guess, just playing, something like Captain Hook.
How about having your wife directing you in a movie, I'm Not Here? How was that? Was that unique? That had to be a weird experience for you.
No, it was especially since we met. Well, we met on that Peter Pan I was just talking about. We met as theater actors, and she's this cute little Broadway baby, and fast forward to whatever 20-some years, and now she's directing me in film. But we started out doing that when she first started getting into directing, filmmaking, making little short films. That relationship started there, and I'm used to getting bossed around by her anyway, so really
Well, I was going to say, was there any awkwardness on the set? Like, was there any one memorable moment where you remember, that doesn't feel very good to have that happen in public?
I'm just kind of naked in the movie a lot, so it was a little awkward in general. But it was honestly, that was a great film to be directed by your wife instead of some random stranger saying, "All right, now walk over there with your lily white butt," And,
yeah. All right. So any memorable details beyond your nudity on the set of her directing you during what sounds like a nude part?
Yeah, it's I'm joking about it. It's a very dramatic, intense sort of largely kind of sad film, and the character that I play is just kind of at the end of his rope, so he's home alone, and he puts on a robe eventually, so I don't want audiences to be frightened. She wanted me to basically be naked a lot and look as bad as possible naked. So there were the two options of put on a bunch of weight and be kind of fat and bloated and gross, or get kind of scrawny and emaciated, which just seemed healthier to me and appealed to what's left of my vanity. So that was the option that I went for. And I had the Santa Claus beard at the time, and it was just a couple of months after that the photo that broke the internet of my massive guns came out, which with the big beard, which my friend's son called Shredded Santa.
It is one of the great photographs ever taken, and one of the great shocks of my life to see Shredded Santa, J.K. Simmons. It was a marvel. And I don't mind telling you, you look good naked. I don't mind telling you.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. You should strut around proudly. New series Counterpart premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. You should watch it just because we like this guy. He just makes great decisions. He really does. You cannot spell jacked without the J.K. Thank you, J.K. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Stu.
All right, J.K.
I really do like that dude, man.
He's great.
Hi, this is Papi. Do you know that my TV show Highly Questionable is not only on ESPN2 every day at 4:30 Eastern? It is also available as a podcast. You can listen or subscribe to the Highly Questionable podcast on ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don Le Batard.
I mean, Stugotz is the physical manifestation of the comment section come to life. Do you agree with that assessment that you are a comment section come to life?
100%.
It's, I wouldn't take such pride in that.
I do.
Stugotz.
But I want you to imagine Stugotz rising up from the gutter. Like, what you're looking at right now is a gutter. Only a gutter. And now it starts as a face, and the mouth gets bigger, and it just keeps growing, and then just shouts, rings.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Here's a quick backstory, just quick as I can make it. I had the most awkward encounter of my life yesterday. I believe it to be the most awkward encounter anyone has ever had with any other human being. I may be wrong about this, but those of you who believe that you have a story better than this one to tell, I will maintain whatever that story is. You can only meet this story. You can't be better than this story. I'm on my back. My legs are in the air. I'm a turtle on its back. I've got my left hand cupping parts of my privates, and I'm hanging out. And Jose Alfonso, who has done this job for 28 years, is just very used to being the guy who just sweeps into a room and throws a wand over the testicles and then leaves. It's like buying groceries for him. It's like getting a cup of coffee in the break room.
A bear of a man.
A bear of a man. He comes into the room. The whole thing was awkward and awful. And then at the moment that I've got my legs up in the air, I'm totally vulnerable. I'm scared. He says to me right in my face, looks me right dead in the eye and says, I'm a really big fan of your TV and radio shows. And it was just awful. What swept over me then was simply awful. So I will now get out of the way, and I will allow the shipping container and Stugotz to interview Jose Alfonso about this experience. I don't know who wants to begin. I don't know how you guys want to do this, but the shipping container has a lot of questions. Thank you, Jose, for joining us on the show, and I'm still mad at you, dude. I am still mad. I am still mad at everything that you did yesterday. So go ahead, Mike. You start the bidding with whatever your questions are for this Jose Alfonso.
I know how awkward Dan is. So at any point, did he reach for his phone as a coping mechanism?
No, and I just want to say thank you for coming to the show, but I really didn't try to make him feel bad. As a matter of fact, I tried to make him comfortable. But I guess, it was great. It was great. No
it was not great. It was not great. What are you talking about?
This is his job, Dan. This is what he does.
It was great, your face expression, you know?
My facial expression when you said you were a big fan of the show. My facial expression was great. You can go straight to hell, Alfonso. Go ahead, Steve.
And when you get there, make sure you say hi to Art Briles, all right? Anyway, Jose, Dan had mentioned that he was using his left hand to cover his private parts, but he was free to do whatever he wanted to with his right hand. What was he doing with his right hand?
Well, he had it behind his head.
Yeah, I was splayed out. I was giving it up. Thank you. Good, quick answer.
Jose, after the initial awkwardness, was he like more pleasant? Was he nicer to you? Because he sounds like he was being malagradecido.
No. In the contrary, he was great. And he's he was really, really great.
Jose,
person.
I was angry at you. Jose, I was angry at you. What you did was wildly inappropriate. Wildly inappropriate.
Jose.
Well, I apologize.
No, you don't.
Don't apologize.
No,
you were doing your job, Jose. You don't apologize for doing your job.
Jose.
Well, yeah.
Is Dan okay?
Wait a minute. Excuse me?
Is Dan going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's okay.
Okay, very good.
Cool. That was fourth on our list.
All right. What were his thoughts on the...
Yeah, by the way, I just don't do testicular ultrasounds. I do all different ultrasounds.
Jose, we're not here to do an ad for you, dude.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not here to do a commercial for you to shop what you do for a living. Just be quiet for a second. You ask him a question, Stugotz.
What were Dan's thoughts? You asked him about the Jaguar game. What were his thoughts on the Jaguar game?
Yeah, he said they were doing good.
That's right.
Okay. Layers of sweat. Can you describe the sweat on Dan's forehead while all of this was going on?
Yeah, he was sweating a little bit, but he looked.
Hold on. May I ask a question, Jose? Why do you not understand that what happened between us that was very intimate, and that you are not supposed to be a person who is doing that in that situation? That you are finding this a totally normal experience, and I'm sitting there hugely vulnerable. How do you not understand?
Well, hold on. I'm guessing what he's trying to do is get you to a relaxed, calm state. He realizes that you're nervous. He realizes what he's doing. And Jose, am I right? You're trying to get Dan to a relaxed state, right?
I was. That's what I was doing. I mean, but I understand, Dan. But I understand what Dan is saying. But for me, it's normal. I've been doing this for a long time. So, but I was trying to make him relax.
Jose, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is dolphin smooth and 10 is the thick Amazon jungle, where does Dan rank?
Listen, that's I'll play the fifth on that one.
No, just answer the question.
Answer the question.
Okay? Just answer the question. 1 or 2, pick a number between 1 and 10. Just go.
You repeat the question again?
Just 1 to 10. Just pick a number. You want to repeat the question again, Amin? Go ahead and repeat the question.
Is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is dolphin smooth and 10 is the thick Amazon jungle, where does Dan rank?
Probably about an 8.
Okay, very good.
Wow.
Hi, Jose. It's Mina. This is a yes or no question. Obviously, you've thought about he gets the show. You've thought about Dan. You've seen some things most of us haven't seen. Yes or no question. Were you surprised?
Wow. These are pretty awkward questions here. By the way, I love women anyway, just to make it.
Oh, no, we don't need to do that. No, we don't need to do any of that. What is that?
There was no need to state that.
There was no need to do any of that.
Yes or no?
Yes. Jose, she asked you a yes or no question, and you said, I love women. It's a
okay. Yes or no question. Was that a surprise?
Jose, how big was it? How big was it?
I'm not answering. I'm not answering that.
All right. Goodbye, Jose. Thank you, sir. Oh, wait. We got one more? Hold on a second. Hold on. Does Chris Sims want to ask a question? Who else you got, Mike? You got anything else? All right. We've got one more question for you. So if you're just joining us and you don't understand what's happening here, and I appreciate Jose Alfonso being a good sport about this because he's taking quite the beating. That's probably not the right phrasing. But the thing here that was most unpleasant to me, and I just want you to understand this. I appreciate your efforts in trying to make me more comfortable. You can't be asking me about the Jags when I'm in that position, okay? Just take it from here as a life lesson, okay?
Okay, got it.
and let's not call your son anymore during that either, okay?
Oh, but by the way, he's really thankful about that. He's like, he's beating himself right now because he should have picked up the phone.
That's right, because we did call his son afterward. Yes, we did call
was
his son.
Was Dan laying on his back when you tried to call his son? Like, what was going on there?
He was dressed already enough.
No, that's not true. Thank you, Jose, for being on with us. I was still on my back. Yeah, and we FaceTimed his 33-year-old adult son.
He was beating himself up.
Yeah. Beating himself up. Yeah. For not answering the phone.
Thank you for sharing this story with us, man.
You're an 8?
I mean, I don't know.
Not surprising, huh?
I don't know what to do with everything that just happened there. Because it's all wildly uncomfortable for me, obviously. I don't let you into those portions of my life because why would you want to be in those portions of my life? That's much too close to anybody you care about. And
Jose gets paid to be that close to
that's
your
right. He gets paid. But what do we have in terms of rankings here for things that anybody can do to win if we're having an awkward off? If we're having a contest to see, can someone tell a story more awkward than that one? Of an encounter between two people, does anyone in our audience have a story in their life, the most awkward encounter of your entire life? Does anyone in our audience have a story to match that one?
I don't have awkward encounters, man. I just don't. Like, I'll figure out a way to spin it. It's never awkward with me.
Wait a minute, Mike. I think this is a good conversation to have, actually. How would this have all been different with Stugotz? Would Stugotz have just rolled through this?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would have given him my take on the Jaguars game. I probably would have offered it to him without him even asking for it.
So wait a minute. If you were in the position I'm in, you're saying that guy says in your face. He says in your face.
Yeah.
Stugotz, at that moment you learn that he knows who you are and he says, hey, man, I'm a big fan of the radio and TV show. You think you just roll with that. You're like, yeah, man, hey, that's really nice of you. While your legs are in the air and you're cupping your private parts.
Yep. Roll with it easily, man. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a big fan. And then I answer his questions. That's what you do. Like, I can't recall any awkward encounters that I've had because I don't make things awkward.
I mean, I have one that beats it, but I cannot. It is so hard to tell it, but it has to do with a colonoscopy and something that happened. It's it's worse, but I can't tell it. I really can't.
It's coming up next.
Dan Le Batard.
I'm going to a concert. The date is in my bedroom. Somebody has used the bidet and it doesn't look clean. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, how do I clean this?
Stugotz.
So I'm staring at this. I got 4 faucets and this doesn't look clean to me. And I've got a date outside and I'm like, that's kind of gross. that she would come in here and there would be a dirty bidet. She's going to accuse me. I don't know how to use the bidet. I turn one of the fountains right in my face, gets my shirt all wet.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz is very excited about Boomer and TJ reuniting this weekend. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. And when he said during the break that he was very excited about it, Mike Ryan and Chris Cody got fired up as well. They were fired up.
It's been a while since, Berman's delivered highlights and TJ's this there. Go, Yeah.
These guys are legitimately excited about it.
I really am. I mean, this is great.
Allison, we'll get to you in a second. Chris Sims with us now. Chris Sims, he is our football analyst. For 70 straight days, he is ranking quarterbacks. Blake Bortles, he is ranked at number 70. We have gone through the list. We are now on number 43. The last one he gave us yesterday, 44, Drew Stanton. This is where I want to start with you today before we get to number 43, Chris. What are you rooting for this weekend? Like, when you watch that game, what does Chris Sims honestly want to happen?
Yeah, your people already think I'm crazy because at Bleacher Report last week, when Pittsburgh and Jacksonville were playing, I was rooting for the Jacksonville Jaguars as the game went on. I find Jacksonville's style of play fascinating. It's old school, it's in your face, it's smash mouth, and I love the cockiness of the defense. I'm a little stuck here. Of course, I worked for the New England Patriots, so I have relationships there. I also know people that work for the Jacksonville Jaguars and have relationships. I think at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm rooting for the best Super Bowl possible. So I think what I think the best Super Bowl possible is New England versus Minnesota. Okay, that's the matchup I think will be the sexiest, the most fun to cover. I think Minnesota's defense can match up a little bit with New England's defense and offense, And then, of course, being in Minnesota, the Super Bowl would be pretty cool as well.
Are you prepared, though, for the possibility that during Super Bowl week, Blake Bortles and his entire crew will be talking a lot about you?
Well, yeah, I am very. I mean, I'm sure some of his crew is talking about me already. I mean, Stugotz already put Tony Baselli on me.
Yep.
So who knows who else comes after me after that? But I am very. I'm ready for it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I got enough friends in the world. I don't need to make any more. Like I've told you guys, I really study this stuff. I work hard at it. I enjoy it. I've been around it my whole life, and I feel, very comfortable with my fact-based opinion here.
You're rooting for the Patriots. If Bortles makes it to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl, and somehow during a post-game speech he calls out Chris Sims, will you wear that like a badge, or will you be insulted?
I would be shocked, really. I hope he's not listening to me too much. I mean, I hope he's not listening to me at all. He shouldn't be. As a starting quarterback, he should be enjoying it. He should be worried about the New England Patriots. If I was a starting quarterback, I'd probably be telling my teammates, hey, don't worry about it. Let's just work today. Let's get better. I'm the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm making a lot of money. The hell with all those people out there. So I would hope he's not listening to me. But if he did want to throw a shot at my way as he's holding up the Super Bowl trophy, then so be it. I'll take it like a man.
All right. Chris Sims with us on ESPN Radio. I'm just, let's, before we get to number 4.
Guys, could I say one more thing?
Yes.
Yep.
I was just going to say, too, it's not about whether they win or lose or anything like that. It's about the way he looks. I don't care about the stats, anything like that. It's been 4 years of, him not being able to throw 20-yard in cuts and deep post routes and go routes and deep outs and deep comebacks. So it's not about the stats or the wins or the losses. It's about the quality of the position, the things they ask him to do, the things they don't do because they know he can't do it. It's all those things that have led me to this point, just so you guys know.
Would you agree, yes or no, that the Jacksonville Jags are going into New England with exactly the ingredients that are the only ingredients that ever beat Tom Brady in this situation?
They have a lot of the ingredients. Yes, they do. The defense is special. You know that. I mean, we've talked about it. They have a front four that doesn't really you don't need to blitz. Their front four can get there by itself. they arguably have the number 1 and number 2 corner in football on both sides of their defense. So that's remarkable. I would say Telvin Smith and Miles Jack are arguably the best duo at the middle linebacker in all of football. So from that standpoint, yes, personnel-wise, they're about as good of a defense that can match up with New England. And then on the offensive side of the ball, that's a different story. They're smash mouth. They can control the clock. So if they can do that, it will be great because it'll keep Brady off the field. But if they're in 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9 consistently, and they're going to have to depend on Bortles to make decisions in the pocket and make throws within the pocket, then that could get scary. And then that's where you could just see New England slowly wear down the Jaguars and eventually just pull away and win the football game.
15 seconds or less. How do you, if you're Jacksonville, guard Gronkowski?
Yeah, I think that if he split out a receiver, I'm putting Jalen Ramsey on him. I'm going to treat him like a number 1 legit superstar receiver. If he's connected to the line of scrimmage, I'm going to make sure somebody bumps him as he gets off the line of scrimmage. And in those situations, if you do go man-to-man, I think you got to put a Miles Jack on him, who was an ex-college running back. That's what I would do if I'm the Jaguars.
All right, number 43. Again, Blake Bortles is the 70th best quarterback in the world, according to Chris Sims of Bleacher Report. And so now, number 43, according to Chris Sims, is?
Matt Moore, Miami Dolphins.
Thank you, Chris. Enjoy.
We're starting to arrive at a territory where I'm saying to myself, yeah, Matt Moore on that Jaguar team, yeah, they probably would be better.
We're not starting to arrive at that territory. We've been at that territory since number 70.
No.
Chris, thank you, sir. I just saw the entire crew from Countdown come in here with all their cameras. We'll look forward to watching you and Stugotz argue about this on Countdown on Sunday.
Okay, sounds good. I'm in the room with all the cameras right now, just so you know.
Oh, you're in the other room. Okay, over there where you are. All right, very good.
We
look forward to that.
Thanks for having me. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Time for Dan to reluctantly take part in something Stugotz couldn't be happier doing.
That's going to be fun if the Jaguars do that. Jalen Ramsey on Gronk, that is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Dan Batard.
It's Friday. I'm getting into the weekend. I want to get my drink on.
Stugotz.
We've got to open up the club. Open it. Open it. Open it. Now. What is the computer buffering? There it is.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We are going to open up the club here in a couple of minutes. Stugotz is going to update the polls, but I just have a little bit of housekeeping to do here real quick. If you've been following the show, we've been talking about awkward encounters, and I just learned during the break that Allison was having a troubled time deciding which was her most awkward situation of her lifetime. And what we have is the one time she went for a colonoscopy with her mother, and her mother spent the entire time trying to talk her into, in front of the guy who was doing the colonoscopy, going out with him. So that's awkward. But also, she walked out to the parking garage yesterday, and Chris Cody at 2 p.m, not very far removed from bathrooms, was just peeing in the garage.
That's happened to you too? I swear to God. I was waiting for Chris Cody one time.
It is so strange, Chris.
I was supposed to give him a parking card.
Chris, we're in a hotel. There are bathrooms everywhere. How is it possible that you are still an adult human being who pees in a parking garage?
It's a long walk to that parking garage.
Yeah. I'm with you, Chris. I've done it.
At Le Batard Show, put it on the poll. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Is it in any way normal that Chris Cody, who is now a father, is peeing in a parking garage publicly at 2 p.m, steps removed from bathrooms?
We're animals.
What?
Who?
Me and Chris.
Let's go ahead and update the polls at Le Batard Show. At Le Batard Show. I just don't even understand why you would be that unhygienic and disrespectful of places where people park and are in public.
Have you seen those parking garages?
Everyone's doing what you're doing.
I'm helping the smell.
He's cleaning it up.
Everyone's doing what you're doing in those garages.
You know, one time I had to change my tire in that garage.
Oh God!
I wanted to burn myself.
I know. Well, we did like 3 segments one time when Stugotz found human poop in a stairwell.
Yeah.
If you say you've never done that, you're lying.
No, wait a minute. I've told you before that I had a white wine accident in a parking garage, but I've never done that feet removed from. That has to be an enormous emergency. for me to do something like that.
Well, why? And what do you think it was for Chris? Dan, there are times where I walk out of here and I don't have to go to the bathroom. By the time I get to my car, I have to.
No, absolutely not. That is having absolutely no awareness about the insides of your body. You are a fool, and I will not tolerate this discussion any longer. At Batard Show on Twitter, let's update the poll.
Seems unfair.
That I don't care.
Can you trust a Jimenez with a G? 88% of the audience said no. Should we spend the rest of our Football Friday discussing Dan's testicular ultrasound? 74% of the audience said yes. And we did. How many Titans can you name? 51% of a lot of votes on this one. People trying to flex their Titans knowledge. 51% of the audience said 3+.
3+?
Yeah.
It's Mariota, Delaney Walker.
Well, then you get the 2 running backs, so maybe
DeMarco Murray.
If we set it a little bit higher, if we set it at 4, over 4, I don't think anyone would have gotten it.
I think we can get the same exact answer if we say name all the Titans from the last 10 years. We'll give you, instead of making it just this year, how many Titans can you name from the last decade?
Do you want to talk on the air to the awkward man who performed Dan's testicular ultrasound yesterday? 76% of the audience said yes, and we did. Is it great to talk to people on your TV? I do, and 60% of the audience said yes.
Is it great or is it normal is what I was asking.
The way it's written here is it great to talk to people in your TV? I think Billy followed up with saying it was great, and that's why we worded it that way.
Okay. Anything else?
No, those are the polls.
All right, let's open up the club for the weekend, send you into the weekend with drink and merriment.
Yeah.
We do it at the end of every week. It's happy hour timer. It used to be back when we were an afternoon show, back before we became the Dougie and Zippy show. The morning hijinks show, but we used to send people into. That's a fine. It's not Dougie and Zippy. What's the name of that? What is the name of it?
It's Zippy and the Juice.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
that is a fine.
It's actually 2.
Oh, wow. It really is.
You got Zippy wrong. You got the Juice wrong. You want me to spot you? Yeah.
No, you're okay. Yeah. You're right. Those are 2 fines. Anyway.
I don't have any money anyway. So.
Let's go ahead and send people into the weekend with the first reminiscing sound of the week.
James Harden.
Why was Mina doing that? Mina Kime?
Complaining about fouls. That's like a flower complaining about the rain. That is your life force, James Harden. Harden.
I love when she can't finish.
Yes, when she just unravels because she's gotten her hot take too hot. Who else is in the club?
James Harden.
Yes, James Farden. Okay, we got that already.
You got the most all-star votes. Who are you choosing first?
Kevin Durant.
Where's that from?
There's a tweet from Rappaport that just says, sources, Steelers are allowing OC Todd Haley to walk.
What do you make of that, Adam?
It was expected.
Oh, that's Adam Schefter, the machine, answering basketball questions on our show.
I love that when we told Adam that he got scooped by Ian Rappaport.
That's right. That was expected.
He gave us this, yeah.
Dismissive and arrogant. I love that.
Knew it was coming.
Who else?
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Yeah, Stugotz was interviewed for 90 minutes by ESPN, and they used only that.
I'm telling you right now, I'm doing Countdown. This interview, 20 minutes for Countdown, and if they don't use any of the 20 minutes, there's going to be a problem on Monday.
Who else is in the club?
We going to the Super Bowl, and we going to win that.
Yeah.
What are you smiling about?
Jalen Ramsey, man.
I love him. I want him to become a star immediately. We've been trying to get him and his dad on for like 7 straight weeks. Who else is in the club?
Greg is going to handle this interview, and I'm going to get a massage.
Oh, yeah,
that's your cue to go.
No, I didn't know where we were on. I thought we were going to a break.
I mean, we had discussed this the entire time, and then I threw it to Greg and just silence.
Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
Who else is in the club?
Free fabrics. Oh, man. man.
That is fabrics.
Fabrics.
It's fabrics.
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 Who else is in the club?
Yes.
Is that J.K. Simmons? What was I asking?
Yes.
What was I asking? Are you going to?
Yes.
You're just looking to pair the yes against the Liam Neeson? Is that?
No.
How, yes. That's. I knew it. I knew it. Are you going to mix it? Are you going to say?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you're gonna, yeah.
Yes.
What would it sound like if two old actors who reinvented themselves late in their careers got into an argument?
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
Fake cut. No. That's gone too far.
Who else is in the club?
Thanks, David. Take care.
Oh, yes. Liam Neeson on Highly Questionable, of course, hosted by David Levitard.
Yes.
Who else?
No.
Who else is in the club?
Listen, you pay someone some money, you say, hey, I got a problem with this guy over here.
Really?
End of game. End of the deal, man.
That's, of course, Vinny on How to Hire a Hitman.